Hot dogs!
Hot dogs, okay.
Are we jumping into a vat of hot dogs?
Jumping into a vat of hot dogs. No, I don't know why I had hot dogs on the brain. No, ketchup or mustard.
Oh, fuck. Sauerkraut or relish, honestly.
Oh,
I'm big
exclusive.
Yeah, I'm big with sauerkraut on hot dogs, but it needs something else. So I'll do ketchup, but relish is probably better.
Oh, so yeah, I'm a kraut and yellow mustard.
You too.
You too. I'm a sauerkraut and yellow mustard all the way.
I ain't no kraut.
I'll even put ketchup with the kraut too. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it
Ketchup,
works.
mustard,
It needs like
even
a
little mayo. Even a little mayo sometimes.
See, I've never done mayo. That's I gotta wrap my brain around that one.
All right, here we go.
Marshmallows. No.
Potato chips. Potato chips.
Wait.
I love potato chips in my hot dog.
Whoa. There's a time and a place for it.
You crush them up and put them on top like croutons?
Kind of, yeah. It gives it a different texture. It's kind of like, those double tacos or whatever.
Oh, like the gordita crunches and things.
Yeah, those things. Yeah, it gives that kind of, and you can add different flavors. You could add like Doritos or things like that and give it a new kind of punch.
No, Jay just wants the potato chip flavored potato chips. We know this.
Oh, that's right.
All right, but potato chips on. I feel like what a mess. But
oh yeah.
All right. And
wait, are we eating to be
you
clean?
Stick it in the bun. You put it in the bun.
Definitely.
You're always so particular about being clean and having like your wet wipes and like being like having your area nice and then you're putting crumbled up potato chips on a hot dog.
There's cleanup afterwards.
Chaos.
There's a lot of cleanup. Do you wear like a bib?
Hey, bib ain't gonna save
you. It's got
you
little
from
potato
crumbs.
chip guy on it instead of the lobster.
Bib won't save us.
Bib ain't gonna save you from crumbs.
That was my debut 90s alternative rock band album name. Bib ain't gonna save us
from crumbs.
Yeah, it had like
What was your first song on that on your album?
Yeah, no crumbs.
No crumbs.
And it had me wearing like one of those sort of like I was like the little Maxwell, like the kid who's getting his diaper getting pulled out by the dog, and he's like, ooh, and it's like it was me like that with like a bib on and like a little bonnet, and then like
are we seeing deep into your psyche?
And then like like an anarchist tattoo. And it's like whoop, but it's like my head as like a 40-plus-year-old man, and then like but like an infant.
You
this
thought
is
this
horrifying image, by the way.
To a degree that is concerning and fascinating.
Bib ain't gonna help us. Bib ain't gonna...
And what animal was pulling off your bib?
You were engaging further in this, Chris.
I know.
What?
Why am I stoking the fire?
Because chaos.
You should totally make like a little piece of art based on this.
And never show it to anyone.
Oh man!
Oh, Chris.
We got there from hot dogs.
Yeah. From bibs.
Wow.
From bibs to crumbs.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo. That was the Halloween. Okay, enough of this. I don't have a transition today, so we're talking about killing your darlings today.
Smooth.
The lack of transition is a transition in a sense. So, yeah. Okay. As always, I like to begin with asking you the question: when you saw what today's topic was about, how did you attack it?
Nothing is permanent.
Ooh, we're going straight to entropy.
Let's go.
Socrates over here.
Killing your babies, let things burn.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to kill the BBEG whenever. Don't hold on to secrets.
This will be fine.
Yeah. So that's where I'm going with this.
Okay, Sandra.
I mean, first, just because as the writer, I definitely have to say that what some people think "kill your darlings" means is perhaps not the original meaning. So, little quick history lesson for this is that it's more meant to kill flowery writing. So when you want to do an overly embellished prose piece, whatever, that's the part you're supposed to kill because it's probably like pretentious and douchey and isn't going to support your writing. So before somebody does the actually in our comments, but please do actually, that is the source. But over time, it is definitely morphed into the like, don't hold back, kill characters that aren't supporting the flow of your story. But we're, at least in my mind, we're gonna go full into characters, places, events, objects, like anything that you feel so particularly attached to as the writer or creator of your world. You really gotta always be analyzing, is it just you? Or is this really essential to the story?
Okay. Yeah, that sort of gets out how I approach this idea. And I have read about what you're talking about. It's oftentimes misappropriated to Faulkner and all this kind of stuff. But yeah.
Sir
so
Arthur Quiller Coach.
Coach is the
yeah. Sorry, I'm butchering names, but yes.
So yeah, the way I kind of attacked this was about like this idea of kind of ownership, and how one being a creative, once you create something, you intrinsically have this kind of feeling of ownership towards the object that you've just created, and then from that moment, it almost becomes difficult to sort of let that thing go, and that can lead to sometimes problems at the table between once players start interacting with a world that a GM sees in a particular way and starts to kind of adapt it and begins to kind of shift into a territory that they're not prepared for. Well, then, this is where sometimes like personality conflicts can happen above the table. So that's one way to look at it.
I love it. I love it.
So I'm going out from this ownership idea, which maybe I'll just go a little bit deeper here. I don't think this is entirely bad. Like I think we've talked about in a previous episode, like that hot take, cold open, hot take, cold open, which is the idea of like how when students come into a classroom or think about your dinner table with your family, everyone will just kind of like gravitate to the same area. You've kind of got ownership over your domain. You come into that place, you have a working method when you sit down to do art or whatever it is. We have these routines, we have these patterns that we do, and so that is good. Because if we didn't have that, we wouldn't have language. We wouldn't be able to have any semblance of reality. It was just completely random chaos all the time, right?
So much social anxiety.
What would that be like?
Yeah, but like sometimes that becomes sticky, right? And so if you have like this idea, your unicorn project that you're trying to get out there as a creative, but then that stops you from doing any sort of projects because you can't get this ideal idea out into the open. So like stop doing that, stop trying to look for this one thing and just keep like producing something, make something new, change it around, see what happens, see what sticks. And so this is getting to a long way of getting around the fact of like, okay, we got this idea that we take kind of claim to, kind of ownership to, and then sometimes it's hard to get away from that. Sometimes it's hard to kind of move into a seat. So it's got a good point, but also it's got a sticky point that can sometimes be kind of hold us back a little bit. What do you think?
I fall into the more sticky. I like my systems. I like creating things, and I do. I am usually pretty proud of what I make. At the same time, I'm okay with things getting destroyed, but to a certain degree.
Give me that. Rip. My character sheet.
Wow, that's a crime. That's a crime at our table.
Oh.
We do not touch each other's character sheets, especially with those greasy potato chip fingers.
You should do that next time one of your players die and just take the character sheet and just rip
No.
it in half.
I would never do that.
Oh my god, I still hold all my character sheets. No, you were never going to rip them in half.
That would be a fun like session 0 thing that you could set up with your players though. Like before you go and you say, okay, we're gonna do like a mini campaign, maybe like 5 or 6 sessions, something like that. And if your character dies, you have to rip your character sheet in half.
So hard. Oh my god,
so
why
hard.
is this giving me such feelings?
I don't know if I'd get into a game like that.
No. You say that now, but I think you really end up appreciating it because you can then keep the ripped up character sheet, like, then frame it ripped up if you want.
Oh,
A friend of mine has all of his old characters up on his wall. It's great, even the dead ones. It's like a memento mori of old PC characters. But it's like playing a legacy board game. When you play a board game, you kind of I sleeve all my cards so that they could like last for a long time and they keep them nice. And I don't like doing riffle shuffles and all this kind of stuff. But when you play a legacy board game, one of the things that you have to do while you play the game is destroy game components. It'll say take that card and rip it up. And it's just like, oh, the first time you do it, like I just bought this thing. I'm taking a card from a board game and just tearing it in half. But again, this is getting back to kind of like the stickiness of ownership. Once you do it, though, there's like this crazy liberation, this feeling of liberation to do that. You're like, all right, now I'm just going to go into my board game cabinet and start tearing things apart. No, I mean, not to that degree, but anyway. We got a little sidetracked.
No. This is actually a really important concept because as a developmental editor, it's easy for me to push other writers to try to kill off these elements. So it's not necessarily kill off a character, but you push and you get this resistance, right? And it's a very hard thing to eventually overcome. And I feel like every writer has to do this. And that means that every person who's writing a campaign will eventually have to overcome this if they want to make the best possible campaign they can. And honestly, I'd have to say that my moment of overcoming that came kind of late. Like, I can tell other people to kill off their own things, but for me, there's like a grieving process to getting rid of things that were really important to me and gave me those feelings as I wrote it. Playing campaigns that are death focused, like a Call of Cthulhu, that like you go into it knowing you will probably die and it's going to be fun because you did. That is probably like, if I was going to tell any writer that gets hung up on like not killing their darlings, just play a campaign like that, because suddenly like it flips everything on its head. Like, oh no, actually this does free me up to do so many other things. And that's the big, plus to learning to overcome this fear of not ending things, is because those things will just keep you from coming up with more ideas. And I believe Jay was getting at this a bit earlier, where it's like, no, you will have better ideas. You'll have more things, but you have to get it out of your own damn way. And that includes your own characters.
So after your character dies, you need to delete that character from all forms of data, and also after you finish your campaign, everyone needs to delete every part of it. The DM needs to delete all their notes. Hey, what about the permanence? What about the ownership of this thing? Right?
This is some existential dread stuff.
That's an extreme, right? That would destroy me.
So yeah, I think what Sandra's saying is like, getting out of your comfort zone can be a good thing, even though it may feel uncomfortable at first. I advocate wholeheartedly for killing your darlings, but I think that you should keep those scraps around, so not a full delete of the files. Right? Even if you share this piece, even the old ideas that you have, okay, this idea didn't work. I tried to make a piece about this concept. Tried to write a piece of music about this, so and so. Okay, well, it didn't work, but it's there. It's there now. I've moved on. You know what I mean? And don't try to like just push something through. I mean, that's one way to talk about it. I guess
kill your darlings and then put them through taxidermy, right?
And then resurrect them or whatever. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you can stare at them in the corner of your room.
Yeah, and GMs who've created a world that they kind of feel like that is so rich and vibrant in their head. Yeah. I think really they need to kind of be able to let their players kind of like go around and break stuff in that world, because it's never you may like this. I think a lot of first time GMs fall into this trap where they create this crazy well thought out adventure that on the page looks great. It's got all these plots of intrigue and all this and that and this and that. Then once the players get in there, it just immediately goes off the rails, and then they don't know what to do. Things like think there's some personality clashes. Then then there goes the party. It breaks apart into a million pieces.
I think though this is again something that people need to learn over time, though. Mm-hmm. Not simply jump into absolute madness after in your first game, right? Because it's a hard thing to understand what you're holding on to before you start like letting it all go.
the benefits of like when to railroad, when to sandbox, how
Yeah.
much detail to put into a scene, how much little detail to put in the scene to let the players at the table fill that scene. I mean, that should be an episode we could talk about in the future and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. So on the topic of killing your darlings, any GM who's got this great world that they want to bring to the table may come with an idea of like, I don't want this darling to be killed. I want to maintain its sort of like the integrity of my. But what you're doing is you're not bringing your Picasso to the to the art museum to be shown for everyone. You're bringing everyone to like then take crayons and color all over it. You're opening the world for your players to kind of run in, and it's a terrible metaphor. Whatever. I'm cooking over here.
I was thinking, I don't quite understand this metaphor, to be honest.
I would say like if you're
He's on higher levels, people.
An illustrator, you're drawing a painting that is your piece of art, right? This is the same thing with like your imaginative work, your writing, your novel, right? So I would say if I was to take my novel and say, okay, give it to somebody else and say, okay, now you write it, and I look at, well, it's not mine anymore, it's something different, and so it's like letting people enter into your creative space and go around and talk about like smash things in a good way.
No, I understand what you mean, though, right? That it is cooperative storytelling. Yeah. It's not just you telling a story; it is all of us together doing it, right? So I do understand.
That can be hard for new GMs sometimes to get. It's
very
hard.
This
is the story that I'm telling, and I'm going to get you guys to the end, and this is going to be the end. Well, no, you don't know the end. Oftentimes, maybe what kind of encounter it's going to be, but like the outcome, you're not going to, because there's die rolls and it's all this and that. And so you got to be really careful and let it kind of go, and maybe just even on the fly throw out whole scenes, throw out whole villages, throw out whole NPCs. Like I got this rate.
That's hard,
but then it is hard. But then you keep those scraps and you bring them back for later. Okay, I wanted this character to do this and have this thing and have this moment, and it felt unnatural to put it in that moment. Save it, move it over, and now all of a sudden it's a whole new character that just came out of nowhere. That was born serendipitously out of the fact that you didn't use them, right? I stepped down off of my soapbox oratory. And that's why pork barrel spending is out of control.
Now I want to have a caution in here, because again, very, very similar spheres, dev editing to this kind of like picking apart storycraft, kind of concept, is that sometimes you're going to have some very strong feelings. Even if you know what's best for the story as a player, as a DM, you're going to have really, really strong feelings about taking that element out or going in a different direction. So it's something that I feel like DMs especially, like players can get like broadsided by an unexpected death. But I think DMs don't talk enough about how like these...
Hello, unexpected death.
Yeah. You want to see my graveyard?
Only showed up unexpected to the dinner party.
No, I mean, there's some expected deaths. I mean, but point. Oh, Jay's dead. Jay is flopped over. He'll just res him in a minute. So I think that if something is really causing you a lot of turmoil in your storytelling, even though logically you can think through it, that there's a lot of times where sometimes we write what we're experiencing, what we're going through, what we're exploring for ourselves. It's probably a good thing to put a little Post-it note wherever you're writing your campaign stuff to go, is this me? Or is this the story? And the reason why this was it was really timely, because a previous guest that we had, ZD Gladstone, we're developing a psychology of TTRPG presentation to do for like 2026 conventions, and this topic has come up. So I'd say be gentle with yourselves as you're crafting the best possible story, because sometimes you may not be able to tell that story yet as much as you want to.
Yes, sometimes it's knowing, is this the place for this now? Is this the place to throw in a comic beat, to throw in a dramatic beat? And we should mention that not all darlings should be killed. Getting to like how you started your talk about GMs having kind of a hold onto their creative world. Yeah, And some of those things you shouldn't budge. You should, no, that's kind of fundamental to the story. I think I don't want the players to go run around and go roughshod in there. You know what I mean? No shoes on the couch.
And
no
for,
shoes
for
in
me,
the house.
sometimes
Full stop.
sometimes I am worried about the amount of work of destroying things. Because you've spent a lot of time building something, right? And then suddenly it gets destroyed, then you got to start something new, right? And that can take a long time. And it's not easy. It's not easy for everyone to destroy your town and then create a brand new one that they go to the next week, right?
That's as good. Well, you could always run adventures in that town before it got destroyed. You could always kind of play with the timeline that way. Go
Depends
back
on
to
how
the
you
New Year's
destroy
episode.
Right.
But Chris does bring up a really good point because you can still be a DM with 2 hours of prep a week. You don't have to. This doesn't have to be a full-time job for you, unless you have the time and throughput and whatnot. So yeah, building a new town from scratch because your players just murder hoboed everything, that is a consideration. That is a very legit thing to bring up.
Let's make that a topic for a future episode. I think how GMs can just organize their adventures in their notes. That give them, it's gonna be different for everybody, but it could be. There's some ways we can get into that.
Is there a method for that? Oh my god! Oh my gracious!
Right, of course. There's whole seminars of how, when they talk to writers about how you can organize your notes when writing your novel and all that kind of stuff. We can do the same thing with D&D. Anyway, on that note, we've gone off the rails and we're into the sandbox of our discussion. So on that note, we'll take a quick break and we'll be back to talk about how and which methods to use when killing your darlings. That's not the topic, but it's a good ending point. Oh, Dev is back. Why?
Off the rails. You're off the rails.
This episode of the 3RPG podcast is brought to you by...
Come hither, all you horrid grotesques out of your dank dwellings. From the smallest Kremlin to the greatest Linorm, we all thirst. Summon Essquelcha, the fermented drink of tormentors. It's the cool drink for the coolest of beasts. With a 1-2 punch of blended bull organs of virility, accented with the sun-dried cat whiskers, booming with pollen from the proteinous plant, a dash of pulped pixies, roasted bear heart, and swamp sludge. It comes in 3 new flavors, same gruesome effects. Bitter blight mouth, very vile berry, and cookies and cream. Blech. The flavors are getting worse and worse. Essquelcha.
Don't you mean cookies and scream?
No, cookies and cream. That's exactly what it does.
So, okay, we're back to killing your darlings. And I think I wanted to go into maybe situations where we did it. And, what was the result?
I destroy a lot of locations. There's a lot of world-ending...
Public bathrooms.
We don't talk about the bathroom.
Not allowed back there.
That was man, you know how to walk right into it, Chris. I swear to God, you must
we were
know.
both
You must know.
counts.
I destroyed that location. Do not go in there.
No.
I have a very different lens that I see my world through than you guys
Crime
do.
scene tape up.
In my campaign, there are locations
that you
that
have destroyed.
I have destroyed.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
From floating cities to an island of undead.
Floating cities, really? Floating shitties
I'm done.
Floating
I'm
cities
done.
to Kerplunk.
No, he's got a case of the giggles.
Sandra.
No. His
No.
laser focus is on you, Chris.
Wait. But I love how Chris is now saying, like, I'm done. Really? You've been in there for about 30 minutes already.
Okay, that one was actually legit funny.
Okay, Chris, sorry. Well, seriously, we won't. There's no more double entendre anymore. I promise.
Yes, you promise. I don't know what to go with anymore.
So from floating cities to
islands of the undead, to mass metropolises.
So you're destroying these because like what, like there is, I believe there's a force of evil in your world that's just kind of going around and like wiping these places off the map like nothing or something like that, right?
That is kind of like the current theme of where all the campaigns are kind of going. It's So
are they obliterated for good? Like they're gone. There's no coming back from these things. Like you're deleting the files, or are you ripping them up and then you can come back and rebuild this place?
Not deleting the files, but nobody lives there anymore.
Oh.
So it's kind of like there's a mass exodus. I don't know if that's also another.
You did it. You did it. Like it was close. It was close. You know?
And they're trying to travel to other planes to save themselves, pretty much. So yeah, nice. destroying all the cities of the world.
Kind of like The Nothing, almost.
Oh man, one of my favorite movies.
Yep.
But you do spend a lot of time making these cities feel lived in with all the named shops and all the
and parts of those can still live on. Merchants will take their goods and try to
the living diaspora who are no longer living in that village but have now moved on to another village, and they rue for the days of the glory of Westnoff or whatever.
I do make random rolls also a lot, especially for like NPCs, that there's a chance that they did not make it, depending on how close they are to how dangerous it is and things like that. So yeah, there's always the opportunity that people that they like they'll never see again, and they weren't there, so there's nothing that they could really have done about it. So
wow. Okay, well I do want to ask Sandra, like as who's played a lot of characters in my campaign, what was a kind of personality trait of your character that maybe you thought when you were making the character that was like on the page that you really wanted to get, but then as the character kind of came to life through play, like had to eventually be abandoned, right? Is there anything like that comes to mind?
I mean, I can say the immediate was Talone. Her original page says, like,
Well, can you explain this character for listeners who might not know?
Well, I mean, I think starting with what she should have been, because she immediately changed. She's supposed to be like a swashbuckler, basically. Was leaning into that. I knew we were going to be in a coastal town, so it was an easy entry point of why she was there. And then Jay's like, let's kind of random roll some things. And she wound up being a high priestess. So not a swashbuckler or anything like that, but she kept her rogue. So that was the fun thing about this character, is that even though her outside appearance, like she was forced into this situation, you're dropped off at the monastery kind of thing, and then finds herself being like a priestess on her own and just being kind of used. But under the hood, she had all the rogue qualities. So all of the stealth, all of the melee, all of the everything that you wouldn't expect. You would think she's some kind of a healer, right? So I was initially very disappointed because I did not want to go playing another like priest healer kind of class. So when we retooled it, that, oh no, she's still a rogue. It's still cool. It wound up being probably one of my favorite characters I ever played because of that, like just that built-in, she's this on the outside, but she's this on the inside. So I'm not sure if I fully answered the question on that, but
when you say let's just roll
what do you look
things,
like on the inside?
Look like me.
When you say just roll things, like he had you pick different jobs, like
yeah, it was like basically like your social strata, your God, what were all the metrics? Shoot. I remember very distinctly social strata because that's how one of our party members wound up being royalty. When he was supposed to just be sort of a CAD rogue kind of character. So he kept parts of that too. So yeah, social class. How did we roll the profession in a way? Because I just, you are now a priest. Like, work with it. Was it? Yeah. So
I don't think I ever showed either of you the table that I had in the background. But the idea was, and we hadn't played in a very long time, and you guys were coming back to D&D with an idea of D&D. And in the interim, I've already kind of started to establish this system that's quite different. And the kind of what makes D&D really easy to kind of on board is this idea of like the archetypes, the hero and the fighter and the wizard and all that kind of stuff, right? So by having you start off making a character like that, and then kind of randomly throwing you into the world where you have to kind of layer upon all these other aspects of the character, you have, like, I think a bit of more of a play box to kind of like tinker around with and find a real fleshed out character there, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked spectacularly. And when I try to explain this concept to other people who've been longtime players, they're like, "You just let him dictate those things." Kind of. It's like
about to say.
But it's an interesting phenomenon that, like, some people can create in a sandbox. You have infinite ideas, and you suddenly from the nether pull in that idea you want to run with. Not all creatives are like that. I'm not like that. I work better with parameters. Like, I will absolutely like drive that Pinto to 120 kind of thing, and
flying off the side.
Yeah, and just like flex every bolt on that idea, that constraint, and that's just how I write and create in a better fashion. So I
then,
really
the top secret,
it.
the Pinto just slowly goes down. Then goes pink, boom, it blows up. Anyway.
I mean that actually kind of is accurate for that character a bit, but yeah, no, I really like constraints because it gives me something to rally against, to challenge against, to reimagine. I work with problems, and that was a new problem to now push back against.
Chris and myself included.
Yes.
Have you ever had any pushback, Jay, from the style?
No. No, I don't think so. I think
is it because you've chosen your players?
No, it's just people are happy to get down to play, and I think that a lot of times some players will have a kind of idea in their head, but like the second they get onto the table, like, okay, I'm going to be the the Beastmaster Barbarian kind of Conan archetype or something like that, and then the next thing you know, now that they're at the table, they start changing everything. Usually by like session 2, session 3, they're a totally different person.
Yeah.
So by just throwing people into the, and like sometimes like having players not prep so much is a good thing, because now you don't have any darlings to kill. Like, they didn't come in with too much. Like, they're coming in open to these ideas, and they're they're more malleable to the world and all that kind of stuff. So, so I think for me, unless was there more on that? Okay.
No, I guess I can see why the allure of coming in really well prepared with a whole backstory and everything is comforting to a lot of players. It normally would be to me to come into a session, especially a new group or whatnot, with more of an idea. But if you can trust your team that everybody wants to mesh and figure out the best way to tell that story together, then go in as blind as possible and form it on the fly.
Well, have an idea of the trajectory of what your character wants to do, but then just come up with those like big dramatic beats. What do they love? What do they hate? What motivates them? That's built into the system, the balance of Axio. See the notes. Anyway, so killing off NPCs, a few. That's always a hard one. Cities. Whatever. It's like a city's nothing but the people who are living it in a way. But
it's just a horde of NPCs.
Yeah.
See, as the lore nerd here, I think it's probably hardest for me to endure because I get used to all of the nooks and crannies, and I'm like, oh, now that's all gone. Shoot.
Yeah.
So those English muffins in the No, okay, but
Yeah,
no, I
not
feel
English
that way too.
muffins.
But sometimes there was like I put a character in a situation where I wasn't expecting to die, but then something happened that made a big tragic event, and I was like, oh well, I've got to be fair and kill this NPC too, and just had to do that. And then especially with my big villain, I had a great idea for this sophisticated poetry speaking villain, and I had a lot more in there, and then he just got caught, and the just beheaded, and I was like, oh well, there goes the big bad. He was one of those kind of like he was one of those malicious but weak villains. That one thing, like one hit point, but a lot of influence or something like that. But then, I found out, having killed that darling, that he's more powerful in death. The enemy's memories live on, and now there's other people trying to avenge his death and all this kind of stuff. And it's
such a mess.
You've cut off the head of the Hydra and spawned 2 more and all that kind of stuff. So it's like a perfect example of I had an idea for this villain to do all this kind of grandstanding and Emperor of the New World, blah 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 blah. None of that happened, and it's better.
How much input do you allow your players to have when it comes to other elements? Say you they find the BBEG, right? They find the BBEG, and then they say one of the players says that the BBC, they find the BBC, and and one of the players.
We are talking about the British Broadcasting
Channel. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Right, that's the term though, BBEG, right?
Yep, just keep going.
Or the big bad. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So what if one of the players says, "Oh, I know who they are," and you didn't have that planned, Jay, as a DM? Would you allow that?
To a degree, I think. A lot of times, if a player walks into a city and that is their hometown, and they say, "Oh, I know that place," and roll with it. They know the place because they're from that place, and let them create.
Let's say the bad guy, the antagonist reveals himself, and it's and one of the players goes, "I know you," right?
Maybe. Yeah, it depends. It's all kind of on what does the narrative moment need at that moment. And that could be a really fun reveal. Then if they do that, player better watch out, because I'm gonna roll with that now.
Oh, yeah.
Now that they've said that they know what you do. Well, now you're implicated, and now you're part of this whole thing. And now you've just opened up a whole little adventure,
little noggin.
Yeah. Little tip of the noggin to all the things that why? How do you know him now, right? Okay, now we've just wait, what? You've been lying to us this whole time, and you knew the guy. Yeah. So yeah, be careful what you wish for.
We have played these things in our group. It has happened, and Jay does not go easy on them. It is you better be ready to bring it if you're going to pursue that. And it's usually awesome. It is usually awesome, but sometimes you get burned by it.
It's an element of yes-anding and to get away from the situation where the GM has created the town and he knows all the names of the streets and all the shops and all that kind of stuff to such a fine degree of granularity that there's no space for players to, I think that might just turn some players over. They go well, I don't know where to go. I'm just going to wait for the adventure to come to me. But if a player starts to kind of riff and come up with some ideas, and then it doesn't necessarily fit with the idea of the world, maybe there's some sort of genre element that doesn't quite fit, well then it can be adapted. It can be adapted slightly by adding on, like in improv comedy, right? You start with something, the other actor then adds on, then you add on to that, and you add on to that, and you add on to that, and just a little bit of you're moving to a center, or you're moving to an idea that then is created in the world, right?
As a DM, though, being flexible, I can understand, especially for your style. But what if that affects another player, though? What if that kind of breaks the immersion or the verisimilitude for that player? Suddenly, I'm gonna name my dog Shrek, right? Mm-hmm. Then everyone's like, I don't like that, right?
This is a question for fun at the table sometimes. We had a character who his passion was cupcakes. Silly. The fact that cupcakes were a thing just became but he was a very kind of heavy and serious character. So that little moment of levity could have helped. So sometimes the little moment of okay, my dog's name's Shrek. As players at the table, this could be funny and this could help kind of make just the evening fun by having that. But if it doesn't mesh with the world, you can throw that away with a quick say, that's actually the Elven word for Warbringer or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like Shrek. You know what I mean? And like there's a way to just turn it a little bit, and then they can keep saying Shrek and it's funny, but like in your mind you're hearing another word. It's just one of those weird like anachronisms that transfers over, where one word means one thing in one language, and then that same word means like a dirty word in another language, right?
Have you ever run into a situation where you didn't like that though?
Yeah, I mean sometimes, when everyone's being a little bit giddy and giggly, and you're trying to get mood and ambiance in there. Yeah, you could get annoyed and stuff like that, but in the end of the day, it's the fun that's the most important part. And you can just make a note to everybody like, hey guys, like I'm trying to create an atmosphere of fear here. Let's lean into that, and then little moments like down. That get you. Put your cupcakes down.
Kind of like rein everyone in. Yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, right? I mean, you'd handle it the same way, right?
I think I'm a little bit more stricter than you are, but yeah, as I'm DMing more, I'm getting more flexible, right? It's something that's happened over time that I'm more willing to let players name streets, like you said, and things like that. Or
you went to yoga GM class or whatever.
Oh,
getting a little bit more
so
flexible.
flexy.
Downward dog.
Yeah, I think it's something that happens later in your DM career.
I love when you're like one word response. It's like, yeah, bro. Peace out. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, take your suit off. Yeah, you square.
I am the one in the dress shirt.
All right. Well, I think we are running out of steam here. Any final comments to say on killing your darlings? That's an episode of the ttrpg podcast.
No, don't you dare! You made me rub two brain cells together for this, and I'm going to use them.
The last two.
The last two, exactly.
Come on, that's a classic old man joke.
It's hard to give up these things that you've crafted, that you feel proud of, and it's the pride that I would really speak to right now.
But Mommy, I made this duck planter for you.
Yes, no, seriously. And that's actually a great example. At the time, you thought that thing looked just like a duck, and that your mom was going to be so happy with it. And she was. She absolutely was.
The problem with mine is I added a corkscrew penis to it.
Hey, you know what? That's art. You can do that.
Chris's face.
You might need therapy, but you can do that. But the point is that a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, you look back on that, you're like, damn, I'm not proud of that anymore. That's not me anymore. That's not my skill level. That's not what I'm capable of. And that's the same with your world, your creative writing, your everything.
Your son.
Yeah, well, sometimes.
In some ways.
Make another one.
He's out there eating like white dog poo in the backyard. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
Jay, did you sleep this week?
I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night.
There it is. Yep. I know Jay by now. So the point is that just like if you'd go back and same with in my dev editing, I'm like, go please read writing from 4 years ago and tell me how much of this you'd got. And it's like, oh God, yeah, I'm so glad that this never got published. It's not seen the light of day, et cetera, et cetera. The same thing happens with everything you build in a TTRPG. No different. Your characters, your backstories, your campaigns, your settings, your everything. Look back at least 4 years. That's a good metric. And you'll just be like, damn, and cringe, right? But that's growth. It's just growth. You've gotten so much better that you look back and you're like, wow, yeah, I didn't need any of that. So in the moment right now, you're going to be 4 years down the road looking back at right now going, ooh, so kill everything off. Do everything you had planned, expedite it. Do the plans. You will have more ideas. And by the time you're at those ideas, you'll be a better writer already. So just burn them. Burn it to the ground and rebuild it.
Witches!
The witches!
I think that's a really great mic drop.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm glad I never published that book that I wrote, My Struggle.
It's in PDF form in the doobly-doo.
No.
But for those that don't know, we should mention that the podcast is now available on all sources such as Spotify, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, doobly-doo.com. Don't Google it.
Yeah, don't Google that.
For some reason, they accept us everywhere.
Accept us everywhere. On that note, let us know of the darlings that you've, waterboarded. Waterboard your darlings. Name of the episode. Name of the episode.
Wow.
Ooh.
Did you courtesy flush your darlings?
Yeah, courtesy flush your darlings.
A lot of toilet humor this time around.
And how? Yeah, you started it.
That's debatable.
That's debatable.
Indirectly.
Well, I'll go back to the record and figure out who started that.
We both left at the same time.
Input audio editing here. On that note, listeners, please let us know what resulted in you having an idea for good or ill, and how it changed by letting it go. Letting Lassie let it
go.
Go into the toilet in the sky.
Into the toilet in the sky. Exactly.
Why is it up there? Why is it
exactly?
up there?
AKA heaven, the giant toilet in the sky. On that note, everybody.
Wow.
What does that even mean?
You can't spell God without D-O-G. See you
I
next week, everybody.
Bye.
I'm so sorry, and bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Ciao. There it is. There it is.
The 3RPG podcast is produced and performed by Sandra Rosner, Chris Takasaki, and Jay Underwood. Music and audio editing, mix, and master is done by Jay Underwood, art by Chris Takasaki. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or have any questions, please email us at 3rpgpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to support the 3RPG podcast, please visit our Patreon or visit our website at www.3rpg.com. That is THREERPG.com.